Dick worked in title company, and he has a big smile on his face because he retired before the bubble in the real estate market broke. And he's probably the richest guy on the stage here. Right next to me is a ringer. His name is John Moody. He's taking the place of our regular first trumpet player, Bob Krieger, who's out of state. But we like to have John come and play with us as often as he can because he's an attorney. And we all have behavioral problems and questions about how to stay clear of the law, and he does a real good job at keeping us out of trouble. It's the first time I ever heard an attorney get a round of applause. This is a great, great group out there tonight. Next to me is a guy that I get mad at every time I see him. He's a tremendous musician, and he plays in the San Diego Concert Band with many of us. The reason I get upset with his name is Lenny Light. He has a symbol on his hat here. He works for Northrop, and he is involved in programs of unmanned aerial vehicles. And I used to be a pilot in the Air Force, so he's trying to... I guess my bird was an unmanned vehicle, too. Next to him in the middle in the clarinet section is Chuck Brown. I've known Chuck for many, many, many years. I'll try to not say too much about what I remember. He's very busy developing information systems for the police department and the sheriffs and what have you. So he, in the conjunction with our attorney, with our tax man down there, we're relatively clean, I think, in today's marketplace. Chuck Brown. On the end is David Rother. He's probably the newest member of the band, but he's a real genius, mechanically gifted. He took an accordion and redesigned it and refabricated it to an instrument that he holds in one hand. Okay. The tuba player is getting excited because he knows he's next. Al Isaacson is a retired Navy captain, and he fits right in with this great big horn that he plays, the tuba, because it comes pretty close to the size of the ship that he used to drive. So he feels right at home and attached to it. Right behind me is Jordan Aftrath, who is a retired educator. He was a principal in our school system right here in town. Maybe some of you have ended up where you are largely because of what he didn't do for you, while you were working in his classes. Okay, next to Jordan is Al Nolan, who is our band manager. Very, very talented musician. He wrote our theme song, the Cajon Polka. He arranges other songs for us, and he sings for us, too. And next to Al is Doc Leslie Morissette. He's a physician, retired from practice, but he still works with FAA flight physicals throughout the area. Doc is a very generous and socially oriented guy. He's had a couple of parties for all of us. He always briefs us before we come up to his house. It's kind of out in the country up on the hill in Crest. He says, for sure, don't pull any of the weeds that I got growing around here. In fact, when we practice, we hardly ever talk about music. We are all getting old. We got bad joints, bad muscles, bad brains, bad everything, and we spend all of our time working with Doc trying to iron out our medical problems. And he's pretty good. He's got good rates. He doesn't charge a whole lot. Well, in the back is Freda Lee. Fred Ali is a very famous drummer in this area. He plays with everybody, and if you go to some of the Starlight stuff and the CCT stuff up on Mount Helix, you've seen and heard Fred play the drums. He's a very, very fine drummer. Okay, that's the whole band. And now, in spite of these great personalities and experiences in life that I've told you about, we're going to try to play some music.